Good morning, I'm Meredith Ross. We begin with a story that shook the world and is now being told by filmmaker Anat Zalmanson Kuznetzov. In 1970, a group of young Jewish dissidents who were denied exit visas plotted to hijack an empty plane and escape the USSR. Caught by KGB a few steps from boarding, they were sentenced to years in the Gulag. Two of them were sentenced to death, and two of those survivors of that group are Anat's parents. She joins us in studio today to tell us about her film, Operation Wedding. Thanks so much, Anat, for being here today. What a story. And I just should mention that Jonathan Gall is also here joining us. Thanks so much. We'll get to you in just a bit. But, oh my gosh, this is a wild story. When did you first hear this from them?
I first heard it when I was 5-year-old. I saw my mother on television, and they were told that she's a hero and she hijacked the plane, and that's probably all I got from the story. Then when I was 6, and actually in every grade I went to, the teachers were always saying to the whole class, did you know Anat's parents are heroes? Anat, go and tell us the story. So at some point I said, okay, I have to tell the story. So, so ever since I was a little girl, basically.
Wow. Let's have a look at the trailer and then we'll chat about that.
It's better to be arrested, but maybe after the prison they will give us possibility to leave this country.
They wanted to steal a plane and get away, and it actually woke the world up.
Let the media see, let the whole world see.
Okay, I received this sentence as I expected, and tried to control my feelings, not to show that I am afraid.
Mister, I want you to know that you are always welcome here. I only regret this.
We all have one fate, one hope.
Танцевала вальс, чтобы и вот так вот я откруживалась. И так вспоминаешь жизнь, свободу.
This is your mom here dancing in the cell. What was that like going through this prison with her?
I was really shocked. First of all, I didn't know I'm going to her prison because my producer said we're going to a KGB house, and for me as an Israeli KGB, okay, it's an office. It was in the center of town. It's very beautiful. But for people who were in the Soviet Union, they understand KGB house means prison, but I didn't get it. And then we walked in, and I see it's a prison, and my mom starts walking around. She says, is this here? Is this that? And then I realized it was her prison. And I was 35 when we filmed it, and my mother was 25 when she was arrested. And I started to imagine her. I just visualized her, 25, going into this tomb cell, you know. It was, and I thought it was like American prison, that you have like a yard that you exercise and you have places where you eat, but actually it was completely solitary. And also the yard, they were only received 30 minutes every day to alone to do something, and this is how she exercised. She dances the waltz. I can only imagine what the prisoners thought when I saw her.
Yeah. No, it's amazing to see her sort of return and overcome all of the terrible experiences she must have had. It just shows the strength of her character. But you said earlier that here in Israel they're treated as heroes, but in Russia they were treated as terrorists for just trying to escape?
Well, yeah, for just trying to escape, because may I remind you that it was an empty plane. They had a pilot. They bought all the tickets to the plane, so they didn't plan to hurt any civilians or any people in general, and therefore they're not terrorists. However, actually the trial was about high treason, not about terrorists. But 7 years ago there were a film in Russia about this incident, and they call my parents terrorists.
Oh my gosh, that must have been difficult for them.
It was funny for me because I could use it in my film and laugh about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so then we saw in the clip then 300,000 Jews from the USSR were granted exit visas. Do you think that your parents' story helped that happen?
I don't think I know it. In the 60s, about 3,000 Jews received exit visas. In the 70s, right after this trial, it wasn't because my parents, it was because the reaction of the people in the West to my parents' story. But it was them that triggered it, and then 300,000 Jews were allowed to leave the Soviet Union. Because it broke the censorship. There was a censorship. And after hijacking a plane, death sentence, and you know, such a big trial, the censorship could not, that was it for the censorship.
Unbelievable. So the film is called Operation Wedding. Where can we see it? Is it out yet? Is it being distributed?
Well, yeah, we're showing it. I just returned from my second US tour. We're going to show soon in Brooklyn, St. Louis, and in Riga. And in November, I'm doing a huge USA tour. Also, the best way to just see the screening is just check online, just Google Operation Wedding documentary. That's like the first thing that pops out.
Wow, Anat, well, thanks so much for coming in today and telling us all about it. What a wild story. Thank you.